Hey friends, I hope you all are doing well today, and thank you for tuning in to another story time with me, Reverend JP. As I said last time, each week we're going to be reading from our Spark Story Bible, and it's going to be the same story we're focusing on in worship together. This week's story is another resurrection story. On Easter morning we heard Mary's story, last time we heard Thomas's story, and this time we're going to hear a story about two other disciples who aren't part of the original 12 disciples, but they are disciples of Jesus nonetheless. If you'd like to follow along, we'll be on page 488, and it's titled The Road to Emmaus. With that, let us begin our story. 3 days after Jesus died, Cleopas and his friend were slowly walking down the road to Emmaus. They're walking slowly because they felt very sad. Why did Jesus have to die, they wondered. After a while, a stranger began to walk along with them. The stranger was really Jesus, but Cleopas and his friend didn't know it. "What are you talking about?" the stranger asked. The men looked at each other. "Are you the only person in town who doesn't know what just happened?" they asked. They told the stranger what had happened to Jesus. "Jesus was a great teacher," Cleopas said. "We hoped he was the one God promised would save the world. But instead, he died on a cross. We took Jesus' body down and put it in a tomb. This morning, our friends went to the tomb, but Jesus' body was gone. They said there was an angel there instead. An angel told our friends Jesus is alive. But stop being silly," the stranger said. "How many times do you need to hear this? It was God's plan for Jesus to die and become alive again to save the world." Okay, so we've got, it was like Cleopas and his friend walking and talking. And how do they look? How do you think they feel right now, based on what we heard in the story? And then right over here, it looks like Jesus in the background walking up to them. Looks like Jesus to us, so I wonder why they didn't recognize him. What do you guys think? I guess we'll see what else happens. By now, they were almost to Emmaus. Cleopas invited the stranger to stay for dinner. During dinner, the stranger picked up a loaf of bread, broke it, blessed it, and gave each man a piece. All of a sudden, Cleopas and his friend recognized the stranger. It was Jesus. But then Jesus disappeared. Cleopas and his friend jumped up, ran from the room, and went to tell the rest of Jesus' disciples that Jesus really was alive. God kept another promise. Okay, so we've got Jesus breaking bread. Guessing this is Cleopas right here. And then we have our friend Squiggles down in the corner. And how do they look now? They look pretty happy, right? What do you guys think? And I wonder, why did they recognize Jesus only when he broke the bread? Why not before? When else do we break bread? How about when do we break bread at church? And when do you break bread at home? And I wonder if Jesus shows up there at church and at our own homes when we break bread together. And then they have their own question. If you saw Jesus walking down the road, who would you tell? What would you say? Now, that's a fun question to ask. I'll leave that for you and your parents to talk about. Once again, if you saw Jesus walking down the road, who would you tell? And what would you say to them? Well, friends, that's the story for this week. And I thank you again for tuning in for story time with me, Reverend JP. I look forward to doing this again next week with yet another story. Until then, peace be with you.